Hey, cunts, don't forget to click the subscribe button.
In the seller's finance, the sellers will be impressed with your board. You heard Anelli 3 days ago say that the big corporate parent that he bought one of the big companies from liked his management team better than the leverage bought from their own management team. Now that's a slap in the face to the manager, boy. I fucking walk out. Because Anelli had his shit together, he's put together a world-class team. And, but it's a building block process. It's a building block process. Any questions about, yes, sir?
Yeah. At what time do you pay the CEO and the CFO from the companies?
When you can cash flow.
Does he already can?
No, well, he can, but I think he doesn't want to take two incomes because he's getting paid until his contract runs out in September. And he can live on that, then it's a fairly significant number. But if you're sucking on the tailpipe of your old, you won't know those kind of cars. I can't even think of a shit car that you're old enough to remember. Anyway, if you're sucking on the tailpipe, you're not gonna want to wait. You want to pay. But like he said, there was no money to pay in the first deal, other than the professionals, the accountants and the lawyers. Yes, sir, in the back.
Following on from that point, with the CFO and the CEO, when you hire them initially, they're semi-retired or retired. And then are you trying to get them back into full-time once you're big enough?
Well, the CEO and the CFO, the answer is yes. The CEO and the CFO, the answer is yes. You heard, of course, the Viking bitch that, or CFO, it's not funny, moved to Houston to be full-time, and then she sacked him. But the new terminology is letting go. You let him go. I'm not sure what that means, but that's the new terminology that when you fire somebody. Yes, but the ultimate goal, and once they're on board, they may ask you, once we're cash flowing, paying all our bills, and making money at a surplus over debt service, then the answer is yes. And then the question is, how much do we get paid? And that'll come up tomorrow if you haven't already thought of it today. And for example, if you got a €1 million revenue company, you're not paying yourself $500,000 or 500,000 euros. There are charts that the accounting firms put together, the Chamber of Commerce puts together, the government puts together. $1 million company CEOs should make between 50 and 85,000 euros, pounds, or dollars a year. CFO should get paid between 50 and 60. And so you'll want to take the highest level of whatever that pay is, but you take some within the parameters of what the government says. A $10 million company, the CEO might make $350,000, $400,000, pounds or euros, whatever. Because that's not where you're making the money. You're making the money from the bonus. Remember, I went from 82 to 200 to 600 to 3 million, or if I remember correctly. But that wasn't the bonuses. That was just my compensation. On top of that, I was getting multiples of that in the form of compensation. The idea isn't the gut, the holding company. Everybody understand what that means? Rape the holding company. That may be the end result for some of you, because the kids just go crazy. They're like drunken fucking sailors that have been on an island for 4 years. And they do some fucking stupid shit for sure. I got another email just now, another gal just closed 2 healthcare deals in Coronaville, DFW, where the Viking bitch left. 2 Coronas. And she says it's really ugly. By the way, Aberdeen is closed down, locked in. I make a little joke. I was going to put it on YouTube. Martial law, 6 o'clock tonight. You can't be on the streets. But that's the only way they're going to whip it. That's it. Shooting people in the fucking street. Like The Walking Dead, remember? But nobody wants to say that. I think it gives me an erection. Because half of those people we're going to shoot down in the street own businesses. And their significant others are going to want to unload them. And you're going to be like scavengers, vultures picking. Yes, sir.
For the first deal, how much money should you put up yourself in percentage terms of how much you borrow?
I don't understand this.
So the first deal, how much money do you need to put in yourself?
You're not putting in anything. What do you mean, how much should you put in yourself?
I mean, you have to back up the loan with your own assets.
I don't understand. Do you understand the question? Does anybody in this room understand the fucking question?
Yeah.
No! I mean, are you thick? Are you as stupid as you look? No! We're not putting any fucking collateral. How many times have I told him that? We had a guy in here, a Chinese guy from Australia, God love him. From the first hour to at the graduation night, he asked me at least 30, 40 times, how do I get money out of the company? At least 30, 40. And that's how many he asked. And he was asking you apparently more. And it was before Corona, so he's following. I mean, if you're in there taking a piss, he's asking you. Okay. Smart guy, Chinese guy. And Josh Kim was in that seminar, come to think of it. And so finally, the last day, Josh Kim got, and he took his cell phone, and he drew up his company account, and he transferred $50,000, I think, from his company account to his personal account. And he said, that's how you do it. The second question he asked, but not 50 times, maybe only 30 times, is how do I keep from getting fired? Some of you are asking the same fucking question, you're just changing the words. And I lied to him. I said, you're going to get fired anyway, you fucking Chinese asshole. So if you ask that many questions, your board's going to cut your throat right at the board meeting and leave you for dead. And so then, I still remember him walking off. And then somebody ran and said, Dan's just kidding you. Yes, sir.
Dan, you said the first deal was assets only?
Correct.
Can you explain that?
Okay. He bought, he's in home health. They call it something else in Germany. They got different words for it. Anyway, he's in home health. And let's say it's €1 million business, meaning $1 million top line turnover. And the assets, it had some local contracts with the local health group, hospital. That's an asset. Okay? So he's buying he had typewriters and shit like that, but they're counted as assets on the balance sheet, but they're not all the business equipment, etc., isn't going to be worth anything. Maybe total 20, 30, 40 grand of the asset purchase. But the assets are cash in the bank, cash equivalents, bonds, and that kind of stuff, and contracts. And in the United States and in this country, a local home health will 40 to 70% of their income will be with NHS contracts. That's an asset. That's what he's talking about.
But one, did it shut down after it stripped the assets? Or he kept
No. Stripping the assets is something else. Stripping the assets are you're taking everything out and you're not going to run it as an ongoing entity. It's not going to be a business anymore. You're taking the assets and you run like a thief in the night. That's stripping the assets. But this is all you're buying is the assets, and 99.9% of the time the assets have to be producing the income, top line revenue. So he may be in the same building. I think he is still in the same building. We didn't buy the building that I recall. And so he bought the ongoing company. And if I remember quickly, in that case, the sellers just wanted out, and they just said they'd stay around for 30 or 45 days or something. And some now, by the time you get the 5th, 8th, 25th deal, you don't need a lot of these assholes to hang around. Because, Allah willing, you learn something. But the first half a dozen for sure, you want them there. And I want them to be part of the outcome by you gearing your ultimate purchase price to how productive the little fuck is while he's staying for 6 or 12 months. Now, you'll get once in a while, we had 2 brothers in San Francisco. Actually, 3 brothers. One died. 2 brothers. One wanted to play golf in the Caribbean. The other wanted to stay. And the you in the deal cut him a deal for every 10 cent, or for every dollar over, for every $1 million over the old top revenue, you got 10%. And he gave him a scale where he could earn $250,000 out of an additional $1 million in revenue that his brothers would never allow him to have. And he stayed, and as far as I know, he's still there. I mean, and that's a good thing. Of course, now, the board, well, fuck, we're paying him too much money. I don't even cover that in the seminar. Because then that happens. The fucking bald Nazis taking too much money out of the business. That's at the other end of the continuum. And that comes. I got thrown out because I paid myself too much. And they associated it with Saddam Hussein invading Kuwait. Our stock price dropped 70%. Somebody had to fall on the sword. Me. And you see it all the time. Fall on the sword. I fell on the sword and I left a lot of money, but I didn't want to fall on the sword because I was having a lot of fun. But did I answer your question? Okay. Was there another question? Now, he makes it sound simple, doesn't he? Well, then why do you all look like your mother just died? And when I asked that question, you didn't even look, now your daughter died. If you don't think it's going to be a lot of fucking work, you came to the wrong thing and you wasted your money. The workload that he had doesn't seem as much now after 7, 8 acquisitions. You saw him after 1 in that first webinar. He didn't look as slappy happy as he looks now. Money has a funny thing, I don't know why. That's another thing I don't know why, but the more money you have, the more money you spend, the better you feel. I contend, contrary to what most of the personal development industry contends, I make you feel good, I screw on your head straight, you'll feel good about yourself and you'll go make money. That's what the personal development mantra kind of is. I and all the super successful people I know say just the opposite. You go and do deals and be successful, then your head will get screwed on straight. Anything else about Andreas? Yes, sir.
Sir, if we can just go back a little bit just before the lunch break.
A little bit to when? So before you came from Bulgaria, when?
No, that's a little bit too far out and we're just wanking.
Okay.
So just before lunch, when we were talking about debt and assets, and you said that the debt stay with the seller. But I just want to pick your thoughts regarding when you say free cash flow covers the debt, the commercial debt. Do we take in account the debt that stays with the seller?
Well, no, you're not there. You're leaving the seller debt with him. On a pure asset purchase, fine, you do what you want with that debt. That's not my problem. And if you want it to be part of, if you want me to help you as part of the solution to get rid of that debt, Because now they've got debt and no fucking revenue, right? So how are they going to pay the debt off? They're not. They're going to have to sell their little house or whatever the fuck they've got. Well, fine, we'll take the debt and we'll just reduce the purchase price. Don't have to worry about the debt. And they won't like that. And I know you look. And at the end of the day, no matter what you think, you want them to like you when the deal's done. At some level in your being. Whereas I want them to hate me. Literally. At all levels. Again, what did I say the first day? If you like me, when this is over, I did something wrong. Did you think that was just a cheap Lopez cliche? Because when you do all the things I demand of you, you're not going to like me. And you know who's going to like me even less? Your wife or significant other. Until the money starts rolling in. Until the gravy train comes running in. And then you've seen cakes now that they give me in the ship. Then it all flips. Yes, sir.
Just to clarify,
Okay.
what you just said, purchase price, say for example, is agreed at $1 million based on the EBITDA.
Correct.
But there's £1 million worth of debt. You're not buying the debt,
No,
are you?
no.
So you take the debt, or if say it's $500,000 of debt, you take the $500,000 off of the $1 million.
No. That's if he wants you to take the debt.
Yes.
If he keeps the debt, you just walk off smartly and leave.
Yeah,
but
most
if he
people
wants you,
are going to want to lose the debt as well, aren't they?
It depends what they have, other assets. It depends what they, now if it's a true mom and pop thing, that's going to be the only thing they own. So they don't want the debt.
No.
They want you to take.
Yep.
So then $1 million, you take, $500,000 off the purchase price. In some cases, that's when you say, you got to pay me to take this shit off your hands.
Because it's negative.
Correct. Thank you. But you got to learn, as Sally would, you got to learn to push those buttons. And guys, you got to push hard. The squeaky wheel gets the, what do you call it? And remember, I told you, when you're writing employment contracts, employment agreements, you tell the lawyers you want them to favor you. Right now, generally speaking, all those agreements favor the employee, not the employer, and certainly not the owner. So you tell the lawyers, I want the shit to legal, moral, and ethical, but I want them to favor me. I don't want there to be any cloud in the judge and or the jury's mind who these documents were written to protect. Me. And the lawyers will write you a letter pursuant to our conversation because they want to cover their ass. I had this conversation and to favor the owner, the company, in all cases. And then they'll put some legal mumbo jumbo in there as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical. We won't do anything as long as it's in the tax code. Bullshit. And you can do that. And when you take over other companies, he's got 170 employees, which I find amusing. But you will have employees. When I start a new deal, I like everybody to have a new contract. I'm sure some of these people that are working for him now, the contract was just entered into a year ago, and most of the contracts here in Europe are a 3-year contract. But I want you to have a new contract. Because I want to make sure, because I'm almost positive the old contracts don't favor the owner. And that means about arbitration and all these things, sexual harassment, and I'm not saying we're setting it up so we don't get sued for sexual harassment and then we're going to go sexually harass somebody. But there are good sexual harassment clauses and there are bad sexual harassment clauses. I know guys who will not ride up an elevator, a lift, with a woman. They will not sit in a conference room with a woman until other guys come into the conference room. They'll sit in the hall. That's how bad it is in America. Yes, sir.
Just want to go back to that point I was talking about. So if there's $500,000 in cash in the bank as well, there's $500,000 of debt.
Well, he's going to say this, he wants to trade it off.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, then you're going to wind up doing if they negotiate hard, you're going to wind up doing a stock purchase. And a stock purchase, you get the debt, the cash, you also get all the liabilities. And if the company's been audited by KPMG for 5 years, you don't have to worry about that because you're probably going to be aware of all the past and current liabilities and the potential future liabilities. But if it's Joe Schwartz, your brother-in-law, asshole ex-truck driver who's doing your books, then you're probably going to get stuck. And of course, when you're writing the purchase agreement, you're putting in various clauses to protect you. If something comes back, contracts, like that building that burned down in London a few years ago. Pardon? Yeah, well, that company, the president and CEO was Klaus Kleinfeld, my mentee. He didn't have anything to do. He didn't put the shit on the walls. He didn't, But they went after everybody. I hope Klaus has settled that suit. But your lawyers and accountants, all these things you're worrying about, your lawyers and accountants can answer, number one. And number two, you shouldn't even ask them. This is why 95% of businesses don't sell. See, most people, even though you're articulating some of these concerns, right, the last 4 or 5 days, in your heart, in your stomach, in your gut, you know why you haven't taken action. You know why. So you rather hear happy, slappy poems and shit that everybody's equal and everything's okay. You've come up with a reason to engage in self-sabotaging activity. And self-sabotaging activity isn't mostly at the conscious level, it's at the subconscious level.
So in the healthcare business,
Healthcare.
this guy.
Are you talking about this guy or another?
Yeah,
guy?
Andreas, the German guy. So he works.
And by the way, he's a nice guy. I mean, nice, like a retard nice. He cares. I'm at the Hitler end of the continuum. He's at the guy that works at the Red Cross during the Second World War end of the continuum. But go ahead.
Yeah. So the healthcare businesses he buys, they work mainly under license in a bigger building in a hospital?
No. All these businesses that he's purchased, they have their own offices. They have contracts with hospitals.
Uh-huh.
That's an asset. The contract they have with the hospital is an asset.
Yeah, but if
the biggest challenge with, especially in the UK with the NHS, is that the NHS are slow payers. 3, 4, 5 years you may get paid. Well, you can't run a business that way, can you? That's right. So you take that into account, and that's why you age as part of your report that you get from your accountants. What the recurring revenue is going to be, the strength of the recurring revenue is. Let's say you have $5 million in accounts receivable. Everything over 90 days, forget about. In other words, give no value. Does everybody understand what I just said? You got $1 million owed to the business, or $1 million, whatever. That's the payments you should have gotten the last 90 days, but they're not. You haven't gotten them. So they're 90 days owed. Everybody got me? So everything from 91 days to a year is the other $4 million. Worth nothing. Probably less than nothing because you're going to have to spend time chasing them. But they'll want to trade that off against the debt. But you don't. So you may give them 10 or 15 cents on the dollar for them from 1,000,001 to 5 million. And normally it's a negotiating point just to get them off your fucking back. You don't expect to collect that 15 cents, but it makes them feel better because you gave them something. Now, in some cases, the receivables because they've never asked. If you don't get a second or third notice, you're going to pay the bill? Maybe. Here we pay the bill. It pisses me off. The bill comes in the morning, we pay it in the afternoon. I don't like. That's not how I've run big businesses all my life. Okay, but so the payables from somebody like me are good. And by the way, General Motors, Deutsche Telekom, Siemens, British Petroleum, those are called AAA credits. Those AAA credits are going to pay you. They may not pay you when you want them to pay you, but they're going to pay you. So you may, if they have payables, receivables, with those companies, and they're still past 90 days, owed you, you give them 25, 30, 35 cents on the dollar. Because you're going to get paid, but it may not be for a year or 6 months or 10 months. There was another, yes, sir.
The second part, so if the seller has his own building, his office, his location, then you don't want that. You only want the business, and if the seller insists, then you walk away.
No, well then you walk away. Fuck you, Belgian waffle.
That's what I...
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you. You're not going to sell, or you're not going to buy everybody you talk to. See, you don't want to make 2,000 calls. You want to make 20. You're going to fail. Go away. And then you're going to blame it on QLA because you were a lazy cunt. Anything else about Andrews? Okay, what's up?